Hey there, it's time for the show, the Tatiana Show, where you make friends and talk life and crypto. This episode of the Tatiana Show has been brought to you by eToro.com. You can trade in a wide range of assets, connect with the crypto community, and automatically copy top-performing portfolios at eToro.com. Quite simply, they have the top currencies, smart tools, low fees, social trading, all in one simple app. They facilitate over $1 trillion in trading volume per year globally. eToro makes powerful trading tools easy. Get started in minutes right now at eToro.com. That's eToro.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special edition, a simulcast partnership galore with Sasha Hodler of the Hodlcast. This is, of course, your hostess with the mostest, Tatiana Moroz. Josh, of course, is not with me because I am in Miami, and we're here talking with Kenn Bosak, who is also... Why can't I call you Kenny?
You can call me Kenny, but you're definitely going to be the only one that's ever called me Kenn Bosak.
But I like it.
I like it, too. It's not that I didn't like it. It's just... nobody else has ever done that.
I've been watching a lot of South Park lately, so the name Kenny brings up a lot of memories.
Okay, well, we're testing it out, audience members. Tell us what you think. So, yeah, great to have you guys both here. Say hi, Sasha.
Hey.
How goes it?
Awesome. So, is this your first Miami Bitcoin conference?
That's my second. I came, I think 2 years ago when we had the after party at Club 11, and there was the whole drama around that.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't here that year. What happened? Like, they had it at a strip club or something?
Yeah, I was there. It wasn't really a strip club. It was like a club that had dancers.
At 11 o'clock at night, it became a strip club.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just a bar until then.
That's not really great for business. I mean, depending on who you are. But anywho, so what do you think? Are you having fun? What's the deal? What have you been up to lately? Well, we just saw each other in New Jersey. That was really fun. That was a panel where I ate chicken wings on the panel, while on the panel, which was crazy.
No, I'm not Canadian.
Okay. For some reason, I thought, okay.
Yeah, that was cool. It was a weird little meetup kind of thing that was fun. And where was that at? New Jersey?
Elizabeth,
yeah, at the terminal. They accept like Bitcoin and Litecoin for like beer and stuff. That was cool.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that. I just kind of went there. We did the talk. That was fun, though, either way. So,
can you tell us the story of all these tattoos?
So, yeah, you guys can't see, but I have 2 Bitcoin tattoos.
Put like Bitcoin on that. Is it a working QR code?
Oh, yeah, so the one tattoo, it's a QR code. It's a receiving address. My first Bitcoin receiving address I ever opened, my first wallet ever. Fortunately, that was a Coinbase wallet, so I never had the private keys.
Oh.
Yeah. The irony. I ended up learning that QR codes don't look for, like, the black in the pattern, right? Like, you would assume by looking at the QR code that black is what the camera or whatever is looking for. Like, when you have a barcode, you're looking at the black of the barcode. Like, that's the main thing that matters. It's actually the white lines, the gap, the negative in between the black. And I'm not, like, white enough for the camera to realize the differences between the tones and QR codes.
Is it possible to get a real working QR code tattooed?
It's hard. It has to be big. It has to be probably on like your pecs, real flat surface, because QR wallets have a security measure in where if that wallet is what they think is 30% corrupted, like distorted, and may give it false data, it'll ignore any input. So it can get data from a corrupt QR code, look, the image, but it knows that it's most likely not going to be a 5. It could have been an S. We got the QR code wrong because it was too distorted. So the wallet just says, can't scan it. So that's my skin moving, the colors not being perfect, fading. Talked to Brock Pierce. This was a while ago in Barcelona, and we were talking about the tattoo, and he was like, he knows about QR codes and why and how they work, and he was like, dude, you should have got the chip, and I'm like, I will. So me and him were talking, and I think eventually one of these days I'm going to go with Brock to one of his buddies, so it's not like some tattoo shop that could just do whatever they want to my chip. It's going to be somebody I can trust through a trust and whatever, but I want to get a chip here so when you tap it, it pre-populates my Bitcoin address in the text field.
Oh my God, imagine if it could pop out 3D and be like, hey, it's Kenny or Kenn Bosak.
Well, I mean, that's possible, like Pokemon Go style, augmented reality. Yeah. There's an artist, Josie, she has a really cool art that if you take out this camera app and you look at the t-shirt that her art's on, or it comes to life. So my tattoo, you're right, it could do that. She could help me make that.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, we've been talking about a lot of fun kind of artsy projects. We just took a look at this NFT for Ross. What do you think about that? That was pretty cool. I think you're the one who told me about that project.
Yeah, so I'm actually a semi-early investor, I guess, if you whatever you want to call it, just for for biased opinion. I did buy one of the first physical NFTs ever created, period. That was a Ross NFT. So I have a physical, nice piece of silver. Behind that is the private key where I could redeem this NFT for Ross.
Where'd you get that?
I got it from Digitables. It's really weird and hard to say Digitables. Google them. Yeah, see, Digitable. That's how you say it. It's a Digitible. And I got it from Steve Wand, a guy I've known for a few years now. Like, we're talking 3 or 4 years I've known this guy in the space. And just as an attendee of conferences or whatever, just randomly seeing him at meetups even, or big things, little things, all around the world.
It's always really upbeat when you meet Steve. He gives you a good feeling.
You'll never meet a single person in this space, period, that has something bad to say about the guy. And we've actually for years talked about NFTs and gaming and, these non-fungible tokens, and how like fighting the banks and currency wars and all this isn't really like going to be that snowball that starts to roll down the hill that becomes that big thing that, the mass adoption. We both looked at it more along the lines of like this very small effect where these kids are getting into it, playing these video games where these assets are scarce, they're tokenized, they have ownership. You can rent out your skin in Grand Theft Auto because you have one of 5 Lamborghinis in Grand Theft Auto. Maybe you're a lucky kid, you get a really cool mission, you get a really rare card, you can sell it to some adult who didn't have time because he has work. He didn't get to play the game as much as the kid, So like these kids are going to be getting, just like Ninja does playing Fortnite. They're going to be getting these exclusive in-game content that's asset ownershipable, right? These digital things. And I think what he's doing with the Free Ross campaign and using the proof of concept of physical NFTs. Like imagine going to a crane machine game, putting in a couple dollars, and you move around the crane machine ball, and you pick up the ball, and it drops, and you open it, and it's a Crypto Kitty plushie. And you pull the tag off, you sweep the private key, and there's your plushie. You have a Crypto Kitty physically in your hand, and you also have the ERC 721 non-fungible token in your wallet. And maybe it's a Gen 0, a really rare one. Or maybe not, whatever, and you can breed them. So, like, I think that this is where it's going to start, like, where people are just going to have their gamified mentality of money.
Can I tell you guys a little story? I recently became a stepmom to a 10-year-old, Jeff's son, and he'd probably be pissed if I say this, but he literally gets tears when you tell him he has to come off Fortnite sometimes. Like, these kids are addicted to the games. If they could be earning crypto during it, like, screw working at McDonald's or driving Uber.
Right. I mean, imagine back, when I was playing Pokemon all the time, and I'd get, I'd do the same thing. I'd cry when my mom pulled me away from playing a trading card game with my brother because we had to go to bed. Little did she know, 10 years later, a Charizard's worth, I think, about the same as an ounce of gold. You can Google this. It's insane. Like one of the legacy Charizards, the holograph, it's like $1,500 for one of these cards, and I had tons of them. That my mom was just like, throw them away. You're wasting your time. Go do your homework. And meanwhile, I was making a portfolio that could have bought me my Charizard Lambo by now. So I think that perspective that parents have when you go on eBay and you see a Furby going for 6 figures, you're like, how many Furbies did I throw away because I didn't want to move with them or something? And now they want to instill that on their children, right? Like when people buy their kids those Tickle Me Elmos, back when Tickle Me Elmos taken off, the parents knew, reflectively looking back, like, these are going to be worth something. This isn't for you to play with. This is for you to sell on eBay when you're in college to help you pay for some tuition. That's what the Tickle Me Elmo was for Christmas. It was an investment, not a toy. And that's what's going to be happening with these digital assets, these plushy Crypto Kitties, these things that Steve Wand is doing. And I think that there's another company like Silicon Nexus, no way partnered with these guys at all. I don't have any of that, but I do have that free Ross thing, which is cool. But they have these vending machines for NFTs. So imagine going to the bar and poof, you can get a Crypto Kitty because you were playing a bar game, like it's really cool.
I like all this stuff, obviously.
I think it's going to make pulling slot machines at Vegas a complete thing of the past. Like people need so much more stimulation in the games they get now.
But I will say this. I guess the only thing I have that's negative, I think that this use case has always been probably one of the most exciting. I remember when the Spells of Genesis guys came on my show, and I hate games because my brother was addicted to them. I don't think that they're healthy. So, yeah, basically, I don't think that everybody should not get real jobs and just play video games because I don't like video games.
Can I answer that quick?
And I'm not sure that people get like good social skills from playing video games.
They do now. It's
different now,
yeah,
though, right?
Because they're on teams and they're building their friendships with these other people that they're playing with, and they trust them, and they're like getting leadership skills. And I'm starting to see like this is gonna be the skill set for the future. So I was unplugging the game and saying 3 hours only on the weekends, the week time you can't play. But now I think it's like that's his thing. That's the sports of the kids now. That's the NBA player.
Maybe they should get off of their butts and play actual sports. Sorry, I'm still putting in like some reality into, I mean, I get it, but
work out an hour a day.
You're putting your phone down, getting off of Facebook for the 3 hours, but it's not like you're walking out to the park to go and shake hands with strangers like you go and do with your adding friends on Facebook. You're not subsidizing the one for the other. You're not, I'm going to put my phone down now because I spent 3 hours on Facebook. I'm going to go to the park and introduce myself to some strangers and see, I'm going to go like your shirt. I'm going to say nice shoes to a stranger. Like, you don't do that in reality.
No, you have to just see the sunshine.
No, but
what if there's strangers in the game? You have to learn how to say hello to them.
Some people are just non-playable characters just roaming around. It's going to be what it is. Like, I love this analogy. You can look back where before smartphones were a thing, and that meme of all the people standing by, like in a crowd staring at their phones, there was crowds of people just reading newspapers, because introverts will always be introverts, and antisocial people will always be antisocial people. And that internet, that video game like Fortnite, that digital interaction is the only way people do get a social engagement, because they choose to opt out of the reality even if there isn't or is a digital version.
No way, man. Kids are still being formed. They could still be social. You got to send your kid out, play in the thing, run around, solve real world problems. You can't live inside a video game.
Force them to play Little League.
And they're still going to always want to have sex.
Yes.
Like, so they need some, physical, they need to maybe hang out together to play the games or something. But I bet they're going to get into, like, some kind of virtual dating in these games, too.
Well, there's porn.
Smart fleshlights coming soon.
Oh, that's just gross.
Gamer girlfriends, where it's all around the world, yeah.
Yep.
Wait, is that like in Ready Player One? He's got that girlfriend?
And it's almost like decentralized relationships or like tokenized relationships or something. Everybody has a share or a stake in like this girl. She has like 10 e-boy boyfriends. And when she plays a game, she's doing a mission. Like, they all help.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm telling you, watch these like Twitch girl streamers, who have like all these boyfriends. They're playing with my boyfriend. I'm playing with my boy. It's always a different username. It's interesting. It's all just kind of like a show. It's an act. It's a TV show. When you're a streamer or content creator anymore, and like to see like the engagement being memed or the relationships being memed in e-culture and in the internet of culture. Like polygamy and monogamy is such a joke, because you ain't gonna get an STD from looking at somebody's nudes and fapping. So like the problems of one-on-one relationships to monogamy and polygamy, it doesn't apply to the internet. So like open relationships happen more.
I'm disgusted and horrified by the concept of humanity's dating. Like, have you ever been on Tinder or a dating app? It's already hellish enough. If we were limited to that, I think blow my brains out. Are you kidding me?
If I only could go to orgies in real life, I couldn't choose between the ones on Pornhub live streams or something, maybe I'd never get to see an orgy, but I don't want to go to the physical one. I want to tune into the virtual one so I can have an experience, because I'm antisocial. There's just things for,
But humanity needs to be social. Like, you need to try and do that.
So it's just how sociality evolves. Being social, back when humanity was whatever, I punch you with a rock because I thought you were going to hit me with a rock. I don't know. That was being social. And next thing you know, it's how do you do, sir? How do you?
That's antisocial, actually.
No, that was so antisocial. Would have been running in the opposite direction at full speed because you were so afraid.
Jesus Christ. This has really evolved to devolved. Oh, yeah. Sasha, what are your thoughts?
My podcast is always supposed to be a little bit about law, so what can we talk about legally here? Okay, are the in-game app tokens, do they need an MSB license? Because they're technically tokens and they're transmitting from one person to the other.
You're a lawyer. You might have a really interesting question for this, and I hope I don't start a conversation I can't get.
I just thought maybe we should edit that question out, because they probably do and we don't want to go there.
But I have a question that is pretty serious about this, and it all wraps up. it's all a great segue. Guys, I'm a genius. Wax.io, right? Opskins.
Yeah, I know those guys.
They're tokenizing in-game assets.
Yeah, they're very successful.
And listen.
If it's a good or service, it doesn't need an MSB registration. So I think they get out of it that way.
But these little kids are speculating on these in-game assets, and they're basically gambling.
That's the same as buying a Beanie Baby or a Tesla. It's not the same as buying a investment contract.
But the Beanie Baby doesn't have a utility in a game, right? There's no excess utility behind just, here's a Beanie Baby.
What about for cuddles?
But no, hear me out though. I'm selling you a Beanie Baby and then saying it potentially might have the utility in this platform, and then
that takes it further away from security and MSB.
I make an environment, not as synonymously, that utilizes that Beanie Baby. Maybe it's a special utility. If you have this Beanie Baby, you're like the king of this castle, and people have to pay you a dividend to use your land and stuff. Now, that's a security. Or if I'm selling you this NFT, right, for a game.
And that's not even in America. In Europe, that's the only test for whether something's a security is if it pays a dividend.
It's amazing. And what if I'm selling these NFTs, these in-game assets, specifically for a video game, right? Because that's kind of what Wax is doing with some of these things, or platforms are doing.
Dividend, I think if you add a service into the dividend, it creates a different thing there too. There's ways to do it without making it.
I'm saying as a security token aspect though, right? Like, they don't have the platform to use it. So how is it a utility token before there's a platform to utilize the NFT utility token when they're using the utility token to fund the platform that is a security by definition?
Yeah, you got to build the platform first.
That's like Ethereum not being as, it's like because of ICOs. I don't want to implicate Wax. I love Wax. I really do genuinely love Wax. I have my own collectible that I went out of my way to build on their platforms. It's just a genuine concern that I do have, because you're going to have these children making potential six figures, and then what happens when they're doing whatever behind mommy and daddy's back with all this money, and mommy and daddy are held to the tax reasons when all this stuff hits the fan?
I think it's kind of a wait and see problem, because we're not there yet.
And what I respect? The fact that you're just going to ask for forgiveness when whatever happens, because they're not going to worry about the boogeyman of regulations creeping under their bed when it may not even bite, because there is no boogeyman.
Okay, there's definitely a boogeyman. I always get a little concerned with breaking any kind of laws, and I'm always really cautious. We've been with Token FM and like everything like that, because if you have a political view that challenges the government, like we've seen, that can really be used against you, and they can selectively enforce things against people like that. So that always concerns me. I mean, look at even
the bear.
Yeah, don't poke the bear. I mean, with Ross Ulbricht, I mean, they cited his political views in the sentencing. So I don't think that we can be risky. I don't know, especially when you're bringing like artists and creators into it, because they're sort of unsuspecting. They don't really necessarily understand this kind of thing. So I would always want to make sure that they were safe.
Risk is relevant. It depends on what your options are, your tolerance level and all that, right? Like maybe you don't have any other alternatives or options, and this is the only route you can go, or X, Y, and Z. But I do dig it. Like if you can, that's why the U.S. is almost like currency appropriating crypto. The U.S. has no reason to be using Bitcoin at all. What they're doing is they're speculating on the utility of it, and the use case right now is like in Venezuela and places like that, right?
Well, the U.S. dollar could collapse, so people can be using it for that. And as a way of withdrawing, yeah, but you're also withdrawing. It's a way of voting when you put your money. Like, I use my Bitcoin and I stay in Bitcoin because I would rather just not contribute to the system at all. Like, F you guys, I'm taking my money out.
But you have like a choice, right? And the risk-reward ratio is a little bit different. Venezuela doesn't really have so much of a choice, and the risk-reward ratio is way harder, right? Like, they're making Bitcoin mining even like way more legal in Venezuela because of the way electricity is, distributed there, and the way it's kind of being taken advantage of in Venezuela, and they're opting out of the local currency to get this free money essentially from their mining because of the way the electricity works in Venezuela. So like people in the US or anybody in these first world countries that are really investing in crypto, you're making money off the fact that Bitcoin is providing a utility in places where people don't have choice, right? You have a share in the lifeboat of the Titanic's crash. You're not on the Titanic. You're invested in those lifeboats, though. And when anybody wants to hop on that lifeboat, the ticket they bought to get on it, you sold it to them because you pre-purchased a share in it. You knew the boat was going to crash, but you were already on land. You never got on the boat. And that's what we're already there. We're early adopters. We're early investors. And, it's the time to really start showing people where the lifeboats are. And our benefit, our profit is the scarcity, right? So the less Bitcoin in circulation, the more people that use it, the more the early adopters, Bitcoins that they bought is worth more. So we have the incentive to keep that on-ramp going. We're self-incentivized. So if we give more people Bitcoin, like my Uber drivers, my waitress, if we give them some Bitcoin, they're going to eventually see that and be self-incentivized to get their friend in on it.
What if you give them Bitcoin and then they never use it? It just sits there and it never happens. Anything happens to it.
Or what if we get a US dollar stable coin?
I mean, so first, if they lose it or anything or don't, do whatever with it, great, scarcity. If a ship carrying tons of gold crashes in the ocean and they cannot revive that gold, my grandma's necklaces just got way more valuable. So whatever. If you don't use the sats, if you do, you don't. That's the perk of Bitcoin. If you're the only one who has all of it, it ain't worth anything. If I have 2 Bitcoin and I give 1 Bitcoin away strategically or whatever, even in general, and hold 1 Bitcoin, now my 1 Bitcoin is worth more than the 2 would ever have been. Supply, demand, utility, scarcity. It's basic math. 1 and 1 is 2, 2 and 1 make 3.
What about the stable coin idea?
Yeah. So I think stable coins are going to be what every Bitcoin maximalist has that fever dream Bitcoin would be. Stablecoins are going to be mass adopted. Stablecoins are, that's it. Stablecoins are what you wanted Bitcoin to be 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 11 years, whatever. Stablecoins, yep. You know why? Because Bitcoin can't be mass adopted without government regulation enforcing it with their military, saying you have to use this Bitcoin to buy your crude oil or war. UN agree, right? No, that's not going to happen. They're going to replace the US dollar with this US stable coin, like the petrodollar, petrocoin, whatever, and that will be enforced, backed by the governments. You better use it. UN's agreement. That's how it'll be mass adopted. Bitcoin will be that, when you go to the tattoo parlor or the bar or whatever, and they're like, hey, we accept cash, we're going to charge you that tax, or we'll give you 10% off because Visa screws us in taxes. And Bitcoin will be that alternative to what cash used to be.
But they'll probably already have the technology set up to easily accept the US dollar stablecoin, so getting Bitcoin will be just as easy for them in a sense.
Yeah, that's true, right? Doing a lot of the legwork for us. When you see
what if they block it in an app store, for example?
Well, that
becomes problematic.
But then they have more. If you were to make risk reward, right? If you made Bitcoin illegal, it would just make it worth more money. It's not going to make it worth less. If you made heroin legal, it would be worth a lot less because there's not as much risk associated with the sale of it, right? They're incentivized not to go, like Trump's never, in my opinion, I don't think Trump's going to go, Bitcoin's illegal. Anybody in the U.S. Why? Because everybody that's stuck holding it, it's almost like you're stuck holding a bag of heroin. And everybody that wants to buy some, it's almost like you're in this corner, like, hey, who got that Bitcoin, bro? Now you see the supply and demand, the risk, the reward, everything increase. The dark market creates value. Kidneys are worth a lot of money because they're really hard to get.
I love this interview. It's very funny.
Great, Ken. I've never talked to you in such a long format, and you have really insightful views on this stuff. I'm really enjoying this. Thank you.
I appreciate it. I just really believe in this. I've never felt the experience of faith before Bitcoin or before crypto. I never felt like what I seen people in church, at religious. I've gone to synagogues, I've gone to temples, I've gone to I love the concept of religion. I've kind of studied it in psychology, and I've just never felt that. I've always just experienced it through observation. And now when I'm at these conferences, I feel like I'm in church. And when I look at these people working the venue, I'm like, I get it. I know you don't feel it. You don't get it, but I do now. This is my faith. I believe in decentralization. I believe in permissionlessness. I believe in unconfiscatability, and it's just what I believe in, and it's embodied in Bitcoin. And it's just amazing that nobody can kick me out of this. I can't get fired for being me in crypto. People can just choose to opt out of working with me or fucking with me. They can opt out of it, but they can't just you can't be a part of this. Like Visa and PayPal can just be like, no, you can't be a part of this.
No.
You don't exist
As we were
in this
walking
economy
in
anymore.
Yeah, they could kill you, man.
We forgot our name tags. We had to get scanned, go out, get new name tags printed, and get scanned on the way in. And the girls on the way in were like, oh, do it because he's watching. Their boss was, they got in trouble for letting us in without the things the first time. And I was just thinking, imagine living and working with someone someone breathing down your neck saying, oh, you did this little one thing wrong. Bitcoin's given a lot of people the freedom to travel and work from home, and it's just made life a lot more enjoyable.
So much more colorful. I love life on Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's just like over managing or oversight in general, right? Like everybody that was working that counter is almost like a governance, right? Not a he's the government. They're the governance, right? Like if you were doing something that was really going to get us in trouble, like us in trouble, not just you in trouble. I mean, if I can see if we all work together, blah blah blah, we're a part of the same team. You're letting people in without checking their badges, and they're not going to be the only one getting in trouble, right? We all are. That is the incentive of governance. Right? We should all work together, not having somebody breathing over a neck with a government model, their view of what is right or wrong. It should be the consensus. If they knew that you were already in without your ticket, the governance was like, hey, governance model voted over 51% agreement, get in there, you're good to go. This government model came in and centrally it said no, they voided the transaction.
By the way, we are supposed to wear our passes. Like we're wrong for not having them. They shouldn't want people to randomly walk in without passes because then they lose money. So it would actually be theft if we were being bad. So just for the record, while I appreciate the point, we were wrong for not having the badges.
I'm sure Mo would have given me a ticket if I asked, but I snuck in just for the fact that I knew I could, and I always do, and I just want to stay me for that fact. I don't want to go into somebody's email and say, hey, I'm an influencer, I got a bunch of followers, can I get free stuff? Yuck. It feels so grimy and slimy. I'd rather ask for forgiveness rather than permission. You feel me? Like, Mo's cool. We took pictures, we're at the bar, we're talking, he knows I'm here. Whatever, right? But look, I mean, I got 2 badges, neither.
I don't think he knows what your badge says.
I mean, yeah, he doesn't care. As long as I have a badge, somebody bought it, whatever. They gave it to me on their way out the first hour they were here. They had to get back on a plane and go be a speaker somewhere else. But I think that's like sort of the thing is, these events, you can get a lot out of it without buying a ticket. Somebody might gift you theirs when they're leaving, or you may meet them in the lobby anyway. These things are expensive. It was $800. I mean, they could have asked every booth that was here for a couple $100 more and just said, hey, it's $200 coming out. Like, to get more people here. This is amazing. But you've been here before. 2017, 18. I mean, there were so many more people.
Yeah, but this is like a lull year. Lots of things are kind of lower in attendance.
Everything's lower, but the price
cost $1,500 one year. Not the year of the big boom; it was around $700. But then the next year, it was like $1,500. That might be off, but I remember it being very expensive.
Yeah, well, I understand the reason for that. It's the same reason the Wall Street Journal charges more for ad space today, even though they have less viewers or less subscribers, but the quality of those subscribers is 10x, right? So it's like that's why you've seen these maybe it's because of the quality and all that. I get all that. It's hard to see these speakers and presenters on stage talk about mass adoption. How do we get mass adoption? How do we get people into the space? And the answer is, well, not charging them $800 to get in, dummy.
Yeah, I mean, all the crypto stuff that I've been trying to do lately, I want to do it for free. Like the event that we had in the Bahamas was free. The comedy and music thing in New York was free.
Cost money, right? But the booths did pay, and I'm sure the booths all would have paid a couple $100, maybe even $2,000 more to get more eyes on them than more money at ticket sales, right? And then I feel like I'm hoping that we see this donation-based business model. Coinvention, Alex, he's doing a completely free conference in Philly, Coinvention, and he's doing it on a donation-based model, and based on the amount of donations we get.
Careful, crypto people are kind of stingy sometimes.
No, I get that, but like, imagine if you do want to go to, like, he's going to try to figure all this out, word it out, but like, imagine if you want to see Nick Spano speak at this conference, you don't have to buy a ticket to it, but maybe you could put $5 or $10 towards helping him fly in and paying the speaker fee or whatever it may be. You want to see Lynn show up to a conference, I want to put $10-20 towards that, and I might not even be able to make it to the conference. So instead of paying for an $800 ticket to come here, maybe I just wanted to donate $20 to this conference to help Lynn get here. And I think that the donation-based model may help because it's more of a communal thing. Like, at the end of the day, these are cash grabs. And it may or may not be intentional, whatever. But the ticket sales at the end of the day are always put in fiat. No one's hodling Bitcoin for ticket sales for a conference. It's a business. They need to do business things. They have bank accounts, not Bitcoin wallets. And they have to pay their speakers. They have to fly them in, fly them out, and do all this stuff, pay for the venue. So I get it. It's a business model, but I think they need to flip the script to make the sponsors pay more, the booths pay more, and maybe find the speakers that they shouldn't be paying for, that should be paying to get on the stage, to reimburse and make the entry barrier less. Some people, don't even have $800 worth of Bitcoin. How the heck are they going to come here to learn about why they should put $800 in?
I think these are fair points. Very good. You guys how you feeling? I think we gotta go out into the world. I like this interview. I feel like we've shit on this conference for long enough. But do you have any final points?
I love you, Mo. I love you, Mo.
I didn't shit on the conference.
We're not full. No. That was sort of a miscategorization.
The ideology of conferences, or like the business model of conferences, is all. It's like, I don't hate police. I hate the police system. That's, you know what I mean? I don't just go up to a cop and say, I hate you. I hate the way they set up your job model. That sucks to be you. I'm sorry.
But they have to have a financial incentive, of course. But they could do that by attracting more sponsors, by having more attendees because the ticket price is lower, etc.
Selling tickets for live streams, maybe, with like live streaming it instead of doing it on YouTube or whatever. Library or these other applications, you could put up a $5 Bitcoin paywall and you send $5 worth of Bitcoin, you tune into the live stream, and now you have a digital ticket. There's other ways to monetize a lot of this. The problem is they're all either legacy event organizers that did like car shows and art gallery things, other events, and it's just like, ooh, Bitcoin's cool. I bet I could put that together. They don't live in our community. They don't live in our culture. They don't know how to utilize. Like, there's a reason why that ticket isn't an NFT and tokenized, and how easy it is for me to get a ticket from somebody that doesn't have my name on it. There's a reason why Mo didn't do that. He does not live crypto. He doesn't know how to utilize all these things that are blockchain, are cryptocurrency, all these features into his conference because he doesn't even know they exist. Because he's not in Compass. He doesn't know. He knows how to do an event, and that's amazing. This event, I love the North American Bitcoin Conference. Do not get me wrong. I'm just saying I'll never pay for a ticket. I'll just show up and do what I can by showing up, and because I can't afford it. If you can, great, do it. But don't let these prices of these tickets deter you from coming out here and hanging out with Bobby Lee. Hanging out with Brock Pierce, rubbing elbows with Nick Spanos. All of those things don't cost money. You don't have to have a ticket for these things. It's all happening in the lobby and outside at these after parties and stuff. So don't let it deter you from experiencing all of this, and actually maybe one day walking by, me and Tatiana and Sasha, just say, oh my God, I was in the background for that podcast. It could have been you.
Awesome. All right. Well, everybody, thanks for listening to the Tatiana Show and the Hodlcast combo special, talking with Kenn Bosak. Kenn, where can people find you?
You can find me on Pornhub, Kenn Bosak, KENNBOSAK, and have a day.
Wait, do you actually do porn?
I did. Yeah, I do have a Pornhub that is real, and I used to do porn for sure. Yeah, my partner is an adult cam model, so I used to do live streaming for like Chatterbait or My Free Cams or like Spank Chain and stuff like that.
So does that mean that people can watch you having sex on the internet?
Yeah. There's videos of me and her and stuff. Yeah, and actually, one of the most popular videos is me getting fellatio on top of a building on the middle of the highway.
How popular? Like, how many views we talking?
A couple, like maybe 10,000, 20,000 views, something like that, and pretty decent sales. It's funny. She did a run of our content because my following on Twitter, and a bunch of my followers ended up like buying it and stuff, and like it was just funny. It's just. It is what it is, and my
Bitcoin fun.
You know how the Joker says, my mom says, if you're good at something, don't do it for free. So monetized it.
Wow. Okay. This is an interesting episode. I feel like it also belongs on Proof of Love. We'll have to have you on to Proof of Love. Sasha, you can come on that show too. That would be fun. I think the girls would enjoy that. So thank you everybody for tuning into the Tatiana Show and the Hodlcast. Check out Kenn's stuff, support your local crypto conferences, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, by the way, to our sponsor, eToro. Hey there, it's time for the show, the Tatiana Show, where you make friends and talk life and crypto. We gotta think and reflect and use lots of intellect with our hearts when we work together. I know that it can be so hard out there, looking all around and saying that life ain't fair. So that is why we will fight and stay up late at night, listening to the Tatiana Show. Thank you for listening to the Tatiana Show. Please follow us on Twitter at Queen Tatiana or on Facebook and Instagram at Tatiana Moroz Music. More episodes can be found at thetatianashow.com, and make sure you leave a review on iTunes and tell your friends.